Anybody looking to be less stressed? Enjoy life more? Well, gratitude apparently is the solution. Saying thank you is actually rewiring your mind to pay attention to the positive interactions, the positive experiences in your life. How do we actually start pursuing this life of gratitude? I have two ideas. General gratitude leads to a decrease in stress, depression, and anxiety, and it's a greater increase in a person's well-being. Gratitude is the response, is the only response that actually makes sense to everything that God has done and will do. Really, really hope that you see this call, this call to always be joyful, never stop praying, and to be thankful in all circumstances as something that is so life-giving for you.
Thank you. And when was the last time you said thank you? Well, we have a very inspiring message coming from our very own youth pastor, Courtnie Dowdy. And she's bringing a message from 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, where Paul instructs the church on being grateful and being grateful for God for doing all things always. Don't forget to be grateful to God. Sit back and enjoy.
Good morning, church. My name is Courtnie Dowdy. I'm super excited to be with you guys this morning. They gave me a microphone and put me in front of a camera so I get to talk about myself and God, of course. Something about me that you may or may not know is I really like people. I mean, all of my favorite things involve being around large crowds of people. You can imagine how difficult this past couple of years have been for me. Disneyland, concerts, Staples Center. Like, honestly, all these places where I could spend all of my time with 50,000 of my closest friends. I can't imagine anything better than that. It's a beautiful thing. We're all loud. We're all just energetic. I remember the last concert I went to, I looked to my left and looked to my right, and I realized that we were all in there just going so hard, singing every lyric as if our lives pretty much depended on it. And I realized these are no longer strangers. No, these are my brothers and sisters that have been lost. And my family has been reunited here in the Staples Center. It was a beautiful time. It was amazing. I love being with people. I recently realized, though, that I'm not always super thankful for people. I'm just curious, friends, have you ever been in traffic ever in life? I think one of the worst places to be stuck in traffic is when you're leaving one of these large events. Have you ever tried to leave a concert or a Dodgers game? We begin to leave these places and realize that my family has now become enemies, and we're just out here daring each other. I dare you to cut me off. I really want to see it happen right here and now. And then you'll never believe this. They do it. I realize that we're not always super thankful for the things that we say. Like, oh, my life is just so built around this. In an instant, I can go from being very thankful for the existence of humans and camaraderie to wishing, that it was never a thing. You know what this sounds like the best thing ever to me? A day in Disneyland by myself. Oh, that's what dreams are made of, right? Our thankfulness can be so circumstantial. When you're a kid, your parents have literally one job in life, to keep you alive and teach you good manners. Some of the first words that they teach you after you learn their names are please and thank you. Interesting, they don't teach us how to complain, but we're pretty much experts at it. Be honest with yourself, truly. Do you complain more often than you give thanks? A few psychologists have done some research, actually, from Harvard, so really smart, on gratitude, and the results were super interesting. For about 10 weeks, they had one group write down everything that caused irritation in their life. Write it down. And they asked another group, hey, write down all the things that you are thankful for that happened in that week. Who do you think had the better week? After 10 weeks, those who wrote about gratitude were more optimistic and felt better about their lives. This was interesting. Surprisingly, they also exercised more and had fewer visits to physicians than those who focus on the sources of irritation. Complaining doesn't actually make us feel any better. It doesn't do anything good for us. It leaves us disappointed, in fact, because our complaining is usually attached to our entitlement. We complain about things because things in the world or things in our lives are not the way that we hoped they would be. We're reminded of the frustration that comes with that reality, and we let it disrupt our relationships with others and things around us entirely, because when we feel entitled to everything, we're left feeling grateful for nothing. Researchers at Harvard, again, really smart people, have concluded that pursuing gratefulness or pursuing a life of gratitude is actually good for you. They said this: general gratitude leads to a decrease in stress, depression, and anxiety, and it's a greater increase in a person's well-being. Anybody looking to be less stressed? Want to enjoy life more? Well, gratitude apparently is the solution. Saying thank you is actually rewiring your mind to pay attention to the positive interactions, the positive experiences in your life. When you focus on the positive emotions, you're recalling the good that is actually happening in your life. Gratitude helps someone enjoy a healthy life more. It's almost like we were created to be grateful. It's not something that I made up, I promise. It sounds like really good things. No, I noticed it in God's word. And that's where I always want to go when we start talking about our lives, is what does God say in his word about how we should be operating? There's a man way back when, his name's Paul, and he wrote about more than half of the New Testament. He wrote this letter to a church in Thessalonica. And he's writing because he's trying to help followers understand how they were created, how they were called to live. He gives them these final pieces of instruction. It's like, hey, I actually want to give you this advice not to ruin your life, not to add any more burden to your life, but actually to help you live it more fully, to help you enjoy it more. And so we get to the end of 1 Thessalonians 5. And he says this: "Dear brothers and sisters, honor those who are your leaders in the Lord's work. They work hard among you and give you spiritual guidance. Show them great respect and wholehearted love because of the work, and live peaceably with each other. Brothers and sisters, we urge you to warn those who are lazy, encourage those who are timid, take tender care of those who are weak, be patient with everyone. See that no one pays back evil for evil, but always try to do good to each other and to all people." For verse 16, "Always be joyful, never stop praying, be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you, who belong to Christ Jesus." Notice, it's not a suggestion. It's a command. Not, hey, do this if it feels right, brother, or if you have some free time later in your life. No, if it is God's will for you to do so, it's what he actually had in mind when he created you. Not if you can, or if it's possible, or if you feel like it. No, always be joyful. Never stop praying. Be thankful in all circumstances. Choose this posture, choose this pattern in your life because God said it was actually good for you. How could God possibly have the audacity to ask us this? How could we possibly live with gratitude every moment of every day? You know, the pandemic still exists no matter how many people are telling you it's not. The bills still have to be paid, and maybe you got passed over on that promotion. You might be saying, oh, my kids act crazy all day long. If you're a kid, you're saying, nah, my parents act crazy all day long. Friends, like we have friend groups and families completely falling apart. It is difficult for us to choose to give thanks in all circumstances. I know. One of my favorite videos of all time came out a few Thanksgivings ago. I really encourage you to look this up. It's her name is Dernice Pace, and she's singing on Thanksgiving. She busts through the front door. And she, like, I said I wasn't going to sing, but she's like, hey, I'll always be, and she just goes into this song, I'll always be thankful. I'll always be grateful. And honestly, I couldn't even do it justice. That's why I'm not going to keep singing it. But I really do want you to look it up, because she starts singing, she starts clapping, and then everyone in the room starts singing with her. They start becoming her backup singers, harmonizing with her. It shifts the energy of everyone in the room as she draws their attention to gratitude. I'll always be thankful. I'll always be grateful. We have no idea where she had come from, what had happened before then. But we do know that she is clearly thankful for the moment that she's in right now, because it isn't where she's been and it's not the end of where she's going. That's a powerful example of what it looks like to lean into the pattern and the posture of expressing gratitude. Imagine what that shift might do in your home. Imagine what that shift might do at work for you. It starts with us, friends. It really does. One person taking God's call on your life. This is the will of God for you, and taking it seriously. Now, I want to make sure that you have some next steps, some key things to be able to even lean into. How do we actually start pursuing this life of gratitude? How do we start pursuing being a more thankful person rather than being identified as a complainer? I have two ideas. And the first is this: eliminate when, then thinking. Eliminate when, then thinking. One of the biggest thieves of joy and gratitude, I think, is this when, then thinking. It's hard to be thankful when the current state of your life isn't very enjoyable. And so some of us pop into this narrative, like, when I get this new job, then I can afford the life I really want, and I'll be happy. When I finally find the love of my life who's going to care for me, then I can truly say that I'm blessed. When I retire, then I'll have all this free time to do whatever I actually want, and life will be good. When I can finally leave my house again, and then I can travel, everything's going to be incredible. When I graduate into whatever my next season of life is, then I'll be happy. When fill in the blank happens, it will fix this void of emptiness in my life. So when it happens, then and only then can I say thanks. Then I can give gratitude and be grateful. With this, we are looking for the next season, the next person, the next event, the next thing to fill some void in your life and say that then it'll all make sense. But that type of thinking really eliminates the possibility of gratitude right here and right now. It never allows you to actually enjoy the season that you're actually in. You're always waiting for the next thing to happen, and hopefully that'll actually make you feel happy. But God's word, again, Psalm 118 says that today is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. God isn't waiting for you to get through your breakthrough moment for you to meet with him. No, today is the day that he has made for us to know and be known by him. And in response, we have an opportunity to be thankful. Eliminate when, then thinking. The second thing that I would have us consider is to be the one who circles back. People are forgetful. It's a fact. I have two incredible nephews. They are amazing, and I'm their favorite. I'm their favorite aunt of all time. This is just a fact as well. There have been countless times where the older one has told his mom that I am his best friend. No big deal. The younger one follows suit because, again, I told you I'm really good at this whole aunt thing. I'm just the best. I took them to Disney a couple of years ago on my own, and I looked at them and I said, hey, I'm here to make your dreams come true. I really am. You want snacks? I got it. You want to ride rides that your parents wouldn't let you ride? I'm the one to make this happen for you. You don't want to use the stroller? Forget it. Freedom. Run free. My brothers. This is your time. It was a long day. But the joy on their face, the exhaustion in their little bodies as we got back in the car. And you know what I'm expecting to hear? Thank you. Auntie Courtnie, you're the best. Do you know what they actually said to me? The older, he said, we get in the car and the older one, he looks at me, he's like, hey, do you remember when we went to the beach and you let the wave and all the water crash over my face? Yeah, never do that again. Where did that come from? Why is this even on your mind right now, sir? I don't understand. I realize we'd like to bring up old things into current circumstances. Last week, my dad, the bishop, he talked about Luke 17. And I want to talk about as well, like this story where 10 people who are experiencing leprosy, they meet with Jesus and he heals them because he's God and he can do that. 10 people were healed, but only one turns back to say thank you. And wildly enough, when he goes back, he didn't say, oh, Jesus, thank God you finally did something about this leprosy issue. I've been waiting all this time. No, he doesn't bring up old stuff. He's in the moment, and he thanks Jesus for his gracious healing, restoring his health. He endures the current moment, embraces healing. He's thankful right there. That's the posture of gratitude. We're not bringing old things up, but we are people who turn back. You see, God gives us life. He cares for us. He's faithful in healing us. God does what we cannot do. God takes the cross for us, so we don't have to. Gratitude is the response, is the only response that actually makes sense to everything that God has done and will do for us. What does it look like for you to be the one who circles back? What if those moments were at the forefront of your mind in all circumstances, the good and the bad? Family, thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes to tuning into this message today. Thank you so much for taking a chance on me and considering the words that I'm presenting. Thank you so much for saying yes to your relationship with God. And thank you for being willing to grow in it. And maybe you're sitting here and you're listening and you haven't said yes fully. You haven't said yes, but you're becoming more open to it. But you don't really know where to start. Well, I just am thankful that you don't have to do this alone. I'm thankful that Christ forms true community, and that true community actually forms the truest versions of us. So I'd like to call us into a practice today. I'd like to call us into doing something today. As we realize what this community is and what God has brought together, would we take up this challenge of just get a piece of paper and start writing out 20 things that you are thankful for. 20 things that will remind you that you have an opportunity to be grateful to God for. And this isn't just like a cute activity. No, I want you to do this so that you can draw your attention to God's active presence in your current circumstances. Draw your attention to God's presence in the active circumstances in your life and turn back so that you can tell him thank you. Guys, I really, really hope that you see this call, this call to always be joyful, never stop praying, and to be thankful in all circumstances as something that is so life-giving for you. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Be blessed by sharing this message. Support our ministry by following us on all social media platforms like YouTube. Hit the subscribe and like buttons, Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. Your generous giving allows the church to grow, which supports our efforts in providing the needed services for the community. There are a variety of ways for you to continue your giving. Go to the links in the description below, and God bless.